Welcome back to the Sports Rock Show.
Sport Rock.
This segment, we're going to bust out the baseball. Right now, the Cleveland Indians are at 38 and 36. They are 4 games behind the Detroit Tigers at 42 and 32, and they are 2.5 games ahead of Kansas City at 35 and 38. Right now, it's almost All-Star break. A couple weeks to go. Probably about 3?
The All-Star game is the 16th, I think.
16th. All right, so you're about 3 weeks away from the All-Star break. The Indians are a couple games above 500 and only 4 games out of first. How you feeling right now, James?
Well, it's pretty early to tell, to say the
It's
least.
almost halfway.
But I will say one thing. This is a division right here this year. First of all, there's some damn good talent in this division all the way around. But Detroit's going to be the team we have to take care of for the most part. And we've managed to stay close with them. If we can continue to hang close with them, the end of this year could be real interesting for Cleveland Indians fans.
Doug?
Well, the Indians are predicated on their pitching staff, as always is. This pitching staff has pitched. They've had times when they've pitched pretty well. Lately, the pitching was shaky during the 8-game losing streak here a little while back.
Bullpen was
The bullpen has
bad.
been shaky, but Perez should be coming back. Pastano doesn't look like he's ready to be a closer.
nope.
At 4 back, I think Cleveland's, and I think they're probably in a position where they should be happy where they are right now. The Tigers have, when it looks like the Tigers are ready to start pulling away, they go into a little tailspin themselves.
Yes. Much like last year. Although last year they were second or third. Most
Well, yeah, they didn't start pulling away till September.
right.
But Detroit is a team that come the end of July, they need something, they'll go get it. Are the Indians that type of team? Time will tell. Are we going to be buyers or sellers at the trading deadline?
Well, I think right now, everybody talks about before the season began how Detroit's a team to beat and blah, blah, blah. There's only one team that is leading a division that has a worse record than Detroit, and that's Arizona, and they have one less win.
Every team in the AL East is above 500.
Yes.
I believe.
Yep. But right now you're looking at, you got Boston.
Tampa Bay's or Toronto's on fire.
Yes, they've won, 12 in a row?
Yeah. Boston, 45 and 33, better record than Detroit. Texas, 44-32. Oakland in second place, 44-34, better record.
I don't know how they do it.
Atlanta, 44-33, better record. St. Louis, 47 and 29, having a great year.
St. Louis just got swept by Texas.
Did they?
Mm-hmm.
And you also, Arizona's at 41 and 34. Detroit, you're right. They come through in the clutch. They've got an awesome pitching staff, but they're definitely beatable.
Well, Detroit has played. Justin Verlander has been pedestrian at best. He has not been the Justin Verlander.
No, he is not.
But who steps up in his place? Max Scherzer, who's 11-0.
Anibal
awesome.
Sanchez has had a good year.
They've got and Doug Fister.
Yeah.
They're solid in their rotation. Their bullpen's a bit sketchy. They have just now released Papa Grande, Jose Valverde, who was real dicey at closing games. Their lineup is solid. They're obviously they're the team to beat in the Central.
Right, but would you say they're the team to beat in a AL or a Major League Baseball in general?
No, I wouldn't say
A
that.
lot of people said that to begin with.
I wouldn't
That's
say-
the point I was making.
No, I wouldn't say they're the team to beat in. Are they the team to beat in the American League? Maybe they still might be that because of the. If you look at them in a short series and they can throw Scherzer, Verlander, Fister with their hitting, yeah, probably. I don't. The Yankees are doing it with smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
Through the first part of the season. Boston, I don't know how. Boston's got injuries to their pitching staff again. I don't know when Buchholz will be back. Lester started out like a house of fire, and now he's come back down to earth. Texas is still a pretty solid ball club. I'm not sure how their pitching staff will hold up down the stretch. So yeah, I would still put Detroit as a team to beat in the American League. I can't say about in baseball. The National League has some good teams. St. Louis has been playing great. They just come off getting swept by Texas, but St. Louis is still a pretty solid ball club in the National League. And I would expect the Giants down the stretch to be a better team. Pittsburgh is 15 games over 500, and they're shooting to finally finish over 500 for the first time in 20-some years, I think. But they were over 500 last year, and they faded down the stretch big time. The Reds are going to be right there, I think.
Yeah. St. Louis has best record in baseball, so they've been kind of impressive, I think.
If there's a model franchise for somebody like Cleveland to look at, it's St. Louis. They lose an Albert Pujols. They don't skip a beat.
Nope.
They've got young players that step in, like David Freese, Alan Craig. Those kind of guys step in and become solid ball players, if not stars, on their team. And they're a solid team. They're a solid organization. St. Louis is top to bottom, solid organization. Good scouting. They seem to have, when they lose a player, they'll elevate somebody from the minors that can step in and contribute. Yep. That's a mark of a good organization.
You just said a key thing right there, too. Elevating somebody from the minors. For the longest time, the Cleveland Indians organization supposedly had one of the best minor league programs. Supposedly.
I think that's a fact at this point.
I don't think so. I think people really looked really hard when we were going and we had our great heydays in the Central, when we were winning and going to the playoffs and going to the World Series. How many players on the Indians team? We did not have that many homegrown players in that
now, not so many, but back then you did. You had Jim Thome, you had Manny Ramirez, you had Albert Bell.
You're talking in the 90s.
That's what he's talking. The heyday of the AL Central.
But when they had their greatest teams, they had a few of the guys that came through the system. Most of the guys they brought in, Alomar, Vizquel, Martinez.
I think Alomar came through the system.
No, Alomar never came through the system. He was traded.
They came from San Diego.
They brought in good trades, quite honestly. Thank you, John Hurt, and you definitely deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, absolutely.
He made great deals to bring those players in.
John Hart run the organization.
Yeah,
absolutely. Really. He brought in Carlos Baerga, another name right there. He didn't come up through our organization.
He came into the Alomar
which
trade.
Got elected in there too. They had some really good players that came through the organization, but not as many as everyone gave them credit for. They actually went on and made great trades. Thank you, John Hart, to get those players.
Was brought in by trade.
A lot of the players.
Yeah, but you got homegrown. You got some Cy Young.
Bell was homegrown. There were some.
Cliff Lee, Cy Young winner. CC Sabathia, Cy Young winner. Bartolo Colon, Cy Young winner.
Cliff Lee was brought in from a trade.
Bartolo Colon. Yes, they were all trades. They did not come up through the organization. That's what I'm saying is we have not built like everyone seems to think.
Cologne, Sizemore, and Lee all came in the same trade.
I thought we traded Cologne for Sizemore and Lee.
No.
Thought we traded him to the Expos.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, to get those we did, but those weren't even homegrown either. That's just what I'm saying. We need to build more internally, like St. Louis does.
I take that back. You're right.
Sizemore
Cologne was traded. We got Sizemore,
Lee,
and Brandon Phillips.
No, Brandon Phillips came. I think Brandon. Ooh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure on that one. He may have come up through. I don't think so. I think he was with the trade. I think you might be right about that. But no matter what,
Hart knows talent.
But what I'm getting at is this simple fact is we need to build our minors better because all these years when we were winning, everyone thinks, oh, these guys came up through the system. Not all of them did. Ramirez, Thome, and Bell, sure,
Nagy,
they come up through.
I believe Nagy did.
And Charles Nagy
did. But what about
you look through
the closer?
Mesa?
Yeah.
Mesa did not come up through. Mesa was a part of a trade deal. That's the point. We have traded and thank you, John Hart, again, for the great trades he made to get those great players in here when they were young and they really produced and put us in our heyday. But no, our organization has never really had that great of a base coming through the minor system. We need to build that. We really need to build that. If we do, hey, we got something to work with. You look at the team we have right now. Now, we do have some pretty good young players on the team now that came up through our system. But we still, the ones we rely on more than not, are ones.
Who do we got now that came up through?
Kipnis come up through.
Okay, there's one.
I'm trying to think. Kipnis came through the system. Of course, we know
Did Masterson? He part of the trade.
He came from Boston.
Trade for Masterson. I'm trying to think of who else come through. Yeah, you know what, Doug? You got me on that
Sweet
one
Lou
too.
Marson.
got me
he
on
came
the-
in a trade.
You got
Chisenhall.
Chisenhall,
Struggled.
Kipnis, Chisenhall, which has struggled. He's back up again, but he has.
Brantley came in a deal.
Yeah, no, you're right again.
If you look at their
You're right again.
starting lineup,
You're
the
right
usual
again.
starting lineup,
Yep, you're right
you
again.
would find Santana came in a trade from the Dodgers. Swisher was a free agent. Kipnis came through the system. Cabrera came through a trade. Reynolds was a free agent. Brantley came through a trade. Bourne was a free agent, and Stubbs came through a trade.
Absolutely. No, you're right. We have not even raised any of our own homegrown.
And we don't have anything in the pipeline within a year or two away.
No, you're absolutely right. No, that's the point. We need to build our system up below to make it up above. We have brought in great players, though. I will say that much. We brought in some damn good ball players, but we haven't raised those players here in our system.
Moving on, I think that if you're the Indians, you're all right with the fact that you went through an 8-game losing streak and you're still a couple games over 500. Now, I know they've won a couple lately, but you went through a pretty
the
rough.
last 11.
You went through a rough patch. You came out of it. You're still above 500. This team's got quite a few not major, but quite a few big injuries. You know, your closer's out. Swisher's missed 6 games.
I want to know what kind of
Well,
guns.
shortstop.
I want to know kind
Yeah.
of. I want to know what kind of guns he got nailed to.
McAllister was pitching fantastic before he went down. You've gotten a surprise, in my opinion, surprise pitching from Kluber.
Mhm.
Ubaldo's been pitching pretty well. We'll save a couple, times where he got smoked. But Masterson's pitched well. I mean,
Carrasco hasn't done terrible
no,
of late.
Not of
he hasn't
late,
done
right.
terrible of late.
your bullpen you thought was your strong point has been very shaky lately. Pastano, since
Not
he
a
came
closer.
back from his injury, has not pitched very well. So, I mean, I think given the circumstances, you should be
But
pretty good,
But
pretty happy.
starting with this series against Baltimore tonight, the Indians have 7 series the rest of the season, as of now. 7 series from here on out against teams 500 or better. They have 19 series against teams worse than 500.
But
Wow.
wait a minute.
Gotta make some hay there.
Got to. You have to.
Put another stat in there too, though. Those series with the 500 or better are also Central Division teams.
Well, there's only one.
It's only
That's
Detroit. Detroit's the only one above 500.
Yeah.
Baltimore. We're
Well, they
right
play
now in the
Baltimore
standings.
tonight. They're above.
Baltimore's
500.
not in the Central.
Oh, that's right. They're not. So wait a minute.
Kansas City,
you're all right.
Minnesota, and Chicago.
Okay, you're all right. I'm sorry. I apologize.
They play Baltimore
I apologize.
4 games starting tonight.
I apologize though. On
They
that
still
one. I
have to.
apologize.
They still have to go. They still have to play Texas. They still have to play.
They play Oakland again or not?
Um,
They played them a lot early. They might be done with them.
I don't know if they played them out there though.
They may not have.
They still have to play. I think there might be 1 or 2 National League teams.
Probably Pittsburgh.
All right.
I don't think
No,
they
they
play
don't play
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
They don't play Pittsburgh?
No.
Real quick here to finish out the month of June. We've got a 4-game series against Baltimore,
They're over
a
500.
3-game series against the White Sox, which are in our
They're
division,
not.
which are not. The first 2 weeks in July, 3-game against Kansas City, are not.
They are
No.
not.
Then we've got a 4-game series against Detroit.
They are.
We got to make hay in these games, big time, especially
Those games
our-
are at home against
They're-
Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit's at home. It's crucial. And then right after Detroit, we have a 3-game series against Toronto, and then we come back at home
Yeah.
again with a 3-game series against Kansas City before the All-Star break. There's a lot of ground that can be made up.
So after the
Detroit
All-Star
and
break, the
Kansas
second half
City.
of the season, you've got 4 series against winning teams.
Yeah, we
They have to make hay against those teams. There's no question about that.
But by
I
then,
mean, if you can't beat teams that are sub 500, then you don't deserve to be in the playoffs anyway.
Absolutely.
absolutely on that one. Absolutely, couldn't agree more with that.
well, after the All-Star break, you've got Minnesota, no. Seattle, no. Texas, yes. White Sox, no. Miami,
No,
no.
of course.
Detroit, yes. Angels, by then, who knows, but as of now, no. Minnesota, no. Oakland, they go to Oakland for 3.
Yeah.
Then to the Angels, no. Home to Minnesota. Atlanta's another one.
Atlanta's a good team.
Detroit, Baltimore, the Mets, no. The Royals, no. White Sox, no. Royals, Houston, White Sox, Minnesota. The last month, you play 4 games right now, and the whole month of September against a team with a record over 500. And you close out with Houston, you close out with the White Sox and Minnesota, with Houston right before that. So if they're close, if they're within 4 or 5 games of Detroit then,
Going into September.
they could win the division.
Our biggest thing is when
But they have to win those games.
when we play our Central Division foes, we have to win, and most importantly, when we play the top team in our division, Detroit, we need to at least come out of most of those series.
Well, we got
With
the
the lead
Tigers for
on.
4 over the 4th of July weekend.
Yep.
Yes,
And
Home.
those will be huge.
Yep.
Those
Cleveland
are the-
usually plays Detroit pretty well.
At the Prague.
but at the Prague. But those are the games. Like I said, when we're facing the teams in our division, we have to be really on our game. Especially when we're facing right now Detroit, we have to really be on our game. We can't go in there and lose series to Detroit. We can't do it. If we have a 4-game series and we split, not good, but okay. If we have a 3-game series, we got to come out 2 out of 3 out of those. We have to, especially at home. Especially at home.
You play Detroit 1 series at
We've got
home,
quite a few coming up through the rest of the season.
2 series at home, 1 on the road. You got 3 series left with Detroit, 2 of which are at home.
We need to make hay.
So the Indians play well at home, so that's a good thing, hopefully.
Yeah.
As long as we can bar any more injuries and we don't have any more brain farts.
Well, and they've been the last. I think they've won the last 4 series.
Really? Yes.
The-
Oh,
the-
overall, not
yeah,
necessarily
they
against
took
Detroit.
2 out of 3 from Minnesota.
yeah,
They
we've
took
won
2
the
out of
last
3
4.
from Kansas
We've won the
City.
last 4 series that we've played.
Yeah, they've
yes.
been making hay
And
against the teams
that's,
they
and that's the
should.
bottom line. Keep taking 2 out of 3. Keep taking 2 out
Yes,
of 3.
we got to.
Right.
That keeps us in the ballpark as far as keeping us close.
Took 2 out of 3 from Washington.
Yes.
That was nice.
What about Texas? I don't remember the Texas series.
Yes, we took
Yeah,
2 out of
took
3.
2 out of 3
Texas
from
was,
them.
Texas was coming off the 8-game losing streak.
Yeah, that's right.
We went into Texas with a 7-game losing streak. We lost the first game in Texas, which made it 8 games, and then we won the last 2
Yeah.
in Texas.
Now Detroit before that took 2 out of 3. No, they swept.
They
us.
swept
They
us.
swept
The
us.
Yankees swept us the 3 before that.
And so did Tampa Bay then, apparently.
Freaking Yankees.
Fuck the Yankees.
Fuck them.
All right. That'll do it for this segment of the Sports Rock.
But I
Show.
will say
Oh, here we go.
that everybody bitches and complains about Travis Hafner at $14 million a year.
Yep.
What are you getting from Nick Swisher at $14 million a year? Same stats: 230 average, 7 home runs, 20 RBIs.
Yeah, but I guess since Swisher A plays every game and B has an infectious personality, everybody sweeps that under the rug. And look what Hafner's doing this year in New York.
Well, right now he's down to about 218.
Yeah, but still, he's given them enough. He's won several games for them this
He's
year.
given them some production. Matter
Yes,
of
he
fact,
has.
his numbers outside the batting average, which isn't that far off of Swisher's, his number-wise, home runs and RBIs are better than Nick Swisher's.
But I go with my compadre here to the right. Swisher plays, he contributes on the field, and he does contribute off the field.
But you are right. The clutch hitting is not there for Swisher. He's had.
I'm just saying,
one walk-off
you're
hit.
paying in the same amount. If Hafner was putting up those same numbers like he had before, which is Swisher-type numbers, we're bitching. We can't. Why the hell we got him on the team?
Right.
Swisher does it, and nobody says anything.
Wait a minute.
That's all I'm saying.
Wait a minute. What was one of the biggest
point.
bitches about Hafner? Other than if they're not hitting. You're paying them big dollars to do what? To do what? To do what? Doug, come on. He's a DH. What are you paying him for?
Hit.
Okay.
Swisher don't hit either.
He can at least play the field and play it very well. And he contributes in the dugout.
Well, I'm
and
not
in
saying
the
Hafner
clubhouse.
didn't contribute in the dugout. It's hard to say that.
Well, all I know is he didn't contribute on the field.
I think
He either hit or didn't do anything.
The only difference between Swisher and Hafner is that Swisher can play the field, then he ain't worth $14 million.
No, but one thing Swisher
I'm not-
Swisher has done for you though that Hafner never did. Honestly,
He does
believe-
OHIO.
That he's a Buckeye. Love the Buckeye. He brought you Michael Bourne. Without
He
question.
brought you Mark Reynolds.
He probably brought you.
I'm
Mark
paying him for
Reynolds.
production, and right now I'm not getting it.
No, you're not. Wait a minute. I'm not saying anything differently there, and I'm not. I am not saying anything differently there, and believe me, I have seen that. I've seen the stats. I see how it goes. But one thing I will give you here is, by him signing, we were able to bring other players in, and also him being on my team. If he's not hitting, at least the fucker can get out on the field and help you defensively, which he does do. Hafner couldn't do that. All he could do was take swings and miss. At least Swisher can get on the field.
Last year when Hafner played, now the key thing is there when he played, his average for a while there was over 300.
Well, we're running into an issue here also with injuries also. So
Well,
I guess we can't say that.
Yeah, because the Iron Man of the Yankees has not been the Iron Man of the Indians. Nick Swisher is missing games.
Yes, he has.
Yes.
Yes, he has.
Yep.
But, like I said, the one thing in his favor is the fact that he did sign here. I think that prompted other good players to sign here. And also, if he's not hitting, he can still help your team by being defensively. And he's a good defensive player.
So
He has helped the team.
So far in this show, we've discussed the Cavs should trade Kyrie, and Nick Swisher's been a bust. And on those
I'm not
bombshells,
saying he's been a bust. What I'm saying is he hasn't been worth the $14 million a year yet.
You're right.
Not at this point.
I
I do
don't
agree with that.
I don't disagree with that.
I do
one
agree
bit.
with that. But
So
the one thing
far-
on
So far, he's gotten a free pass.
He has.
Yeah.
Because if we
Yes.
look at it, we flip it over to
Yes.
Hafner last year, this is the same stats, we're going, what the fuck are we paying him $14 million a year for?
Right.
But, and then on the other side of that, like I just said, Swisher can at least play the field.
Well,
Hafner couldn't play the field.
true.
So at least you got that part out of it. But I am in agreement with you on the most part on this because you're right. We're paying him a lot of money for nothing at this point.
But
I agree.
I understand your philosophy. If he can play the field, at least he's doing something. But we didn't bring Nick Swisher in here to play the field. We brought him in to freaking bash the cover off the damn baseball.
Absolutely. I agree. I do agree with that.
All right, that'll do it for this segment of the Sports Rock Show.
For rock and roll!